Hi, I'm Wyatt Cash at Scoop News Group, and we're here at the Public Sector Innovation Summit with Chris Montgomery, Chief Strategy and Innovation Officer for State and Local Government at Dell Technologies. Chris, thank you so much for joining us.
Wyatt, it's great to be here. Thanks for having me.
So let me start by asking, what would you say are the key drivers of digital transformation within the public sector today, especially in light of what we've all been through this last 18 months?
Yeah, it's a really exciting time to be in state and local government around this area of digital transformation. We've seen connected users evolve over the last several months at a pace that we haven't seen ever before. And I think right now, the government organizations are really starting to focus on how do they capture that digital connection and really allow users to consume government services and interact with their constituency in a way that suits them best. So we're really excited about this time, and there's a lot of great things have happened over the last few months, and there's going to be even more improvements as we get through the next couple of months.
Well, I know you work with a lot of agencies. Tell us a little about how you're seeing agencies evolving to support the work of personnel from anywhere these days.
Well, I always say, proof of concepts and sort of pilots are sort of great practices. And, you look back over the last 18 months, we've just had the best pilot you could have imagined for, right? And I think right now our government organizations are coming out of this very strong, very confident in, what they've been able to accomplish. Things were accelerated and operating at a very fast pace. And I think we surprised a lot of people. To that end, I think we also know now what worked well and what didn't. So where do we need to spend some attention going forward? Certainly, user experience and connectivity are going to continue, but there's going to be emphasis now on productivity and efficiencies, right? So how do we sort of look at all those online interactions and distributed workforce engagement, and how do we improve upon that, make it more secure in areas where it was turned up quickly? But also, are they really able to be effective or as effective as they were in the office? And I think, in a lot of cases, we've seen very positive results, but that's just going to continue to evolve and improve over time.
Well, talk to us next about what importance that application modernization plays in the public sector transformation journey.
That's a fantastic question, Wyatt. I think right now, we were tripped a little over the last 18 months with some of our legacy applications. And, if you look at the things that we did struggle with as a public sector service, there were definitely some challenges with unemployment applications, health and human services applications that have been around for a very long time. So I think you're going to see a new emphasis on continuity of government services and resiliency. That's not only from a disaster recovery perspective, but from a planning perspective. How do we put these applications now on modern platforms that can scale appropriately during an event like the last pandemic? Similarly, I think some of these applications were not designed with security in mind. Mm-hmm. So when we look at the threat landscape that affects public sector today, we really need to take a secondary look at these applications and build in the right controls to allow remote use and allow all these other, new features and functionalities that our users are really looking for in order to continually to improve that service and make it very robust and resilient.
Well, I'd love to dive into that last point just a little deeper on security. How should public sector organizations be thinking about security, particularly in the wake of the recent major breaches in and out of government that has made the headlines?
That's an area that our customers reach out to me quite frequently about. Everyone has a cybersecurity program, but everyone is also a little uncertain as to sort of what are the great fundamentals and what types of frameworks should they be following. We've got a lot of guidance that's come out from the federal government recently, and certainly following NIST standards and the cybersecurity framework that's built from that document set is very strong. But we're seeing a lot of customers sort of focus in four key areas. The first is zero trust. So, with this remote workforce evolution and our user base being very distributed, The perimeters of our standard interactions with end users are no longer exist. So having a zero trust and heavy authentication practices is going to be very vital to success and cyber resilience. I think the other piece we touched on earlier is sort of modern application development. Making sure that security is built into these applications from their onset, as opposed to bolted on afterwards, certainly makes them stronger and more resilient. Cyber hygiene, not a new concept, but really more important. You look at the last several breaches that have occurred and really been successful, they've all been harvested around known weaknesses and vulnerabilities. So we've got to find a way to automate our security patching and cyber hygiene processes to make them even more stronger and more resilient. And then finally, I think, we're in a world where the bad guys only have to be successful once. And with even the best teams and the most funded resources, they can't take that risk. So what we have to really do is place equal emphasis on recovery that we do on defense. Not to, sort of belittle things, but I think one of the things that we're seeing is it's taking agencies a long time to recover once they have a breach. So being able to place that extra emphasis on adequate data backups, pristine hygiene, and sort of building that into their ongoing program, it will make them much more resilient and able to recover faster and get things back to an operating state of normal, if you will.
Chris Montgomery, those are some great points, and I thank you for taking time to share some of those and your insights about them here at the Public Sector Innovation Summit.